Story time. You ready? In this video, I'm going to talk about how I use tapping in order to work out what was really bothering me and what was really causing arguments between myself and my partner. Now, if we haven't met before, hi, I'm Carolyn Southwell. Below all my videos that are usually about human design and trauma-informed tapping and a combination of those things along with nervous system health, there are always resources. So have a click around in the show more description on these long form videos or the three dots in YouTube Shorts and you'll find more useful things. So right now, as I record this, it is summer here in Brisbane, Australia. And if you live anywhere that's very hot and has a rainy season, then you'll know what it's like when it's hot, 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 and then suddenly it starts pouring. So in this big house that doesn't have any air conditioning, it's very normal for us to have the windows open a lot. And what I noticed is that every time it would pour, I would go around and I would close the windows almost the whole way to let the little bit of air through. But I was really worried about the rain coming in. And I noticed that my partner and I would often get into small arguments because he's like, Carolyn, stop shutting all the windows. Like, it's not raining sideways, like there's no wind. You don't need to shut the windows. And I just felt so compelled to close them. I'm like, what is this about? Like, I can see logically he's right. There's no wind, the rain is falling straight down, but there was a part of me, notice the language, you can spot this within yourself. There was a part of me that was like, no, I have to close the windows. So we'd had this, revisiting this sort of same little argument that had come up time and time again, especially this summer. And this morning, when it suddenly started pouring, same thing. Started pouring and he said, Carolyn, you don't need to shut the windows. There's no wind. And because we'd had that conversation so many times, I could access a logical part of me that was like, oh yeah, there's no wind. The rain is falling straight down. So I made myself sit there and not get up. And the first thing I noticed, because I've practiced having more body awareness, and if you have practiced this, come into your body as much as feels safe to do. And I was like, oh, but I feel anxious. What is that about? That means I've had an experience in the past of rain coming in the window and it's gone badly. And there's this old stuff that's bubbling to the surface. That's what was driving me to go and shut all the windows, even when it was raining down straight. Hope you're tracking with me. So as I sat there, I just started tapping. And if you don't know the points and you're completely new, I'll put a tapping playlist in the video description. So have a look down where it says more or show more. And I just started tapping, and as soon as I started tapping, I didn't even say anything. I was still sitting in the lounge room with my mister. I was like, oh, I suddenly remembered, and this is what'll happen as you let yourself go into your body. I suddenly remembered that years ago, I was house sitting and I woke up in the morning, and as I took my earplugs out, I'm like, what the hell is that sound? It was gushing water. So I immediately ran downstairs and discovered that the entire place was flooded because a pipe overnight had broken, and the cats were freaked out. They were upstairs. Thankfully, they weren't caught in the water. And the entire bottom floor of this woman's apartment was flooded through nothing in particular that I had done, just something had broken and it was just unfortunate. But I was very overwhelmed in that moment, going, far out, I've just woken up. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm supposed to go for a run. And here I am in this person's place where I don't know what to do. I'm afraid I'll get in trouble. That's another whole pattern from another time. And I was like, and we're going through so much water. So much water is like running out the front door and onto the street. So at the time I dealt with it and did what I needed to do. But I realized as I was tapping, oh my gosh, this is not about rain coming in the window. This is about water being inside the house. And that anxiety was coming up because of the sheer amount of overwhelm I felt in that moment when I realized the entire bottom floor was flooded of this woman's apartment. And just by being willing to notice the difference in reaction or response between my partner and I, and realizing that his was more sensible. So there was something happening for me, and being willing to just sit with it and go, oh, far out. this is old anxiety that's coming to the surface that I can shift. And as soon as I did that, literally 30 seconds of tapping, less than 30 seconds of tapping, I'd found the memory without saying any particular thing. You don't need tapping scripts. I was just willing to be with the anxiety, to tap. And then I got up and moved around a little bit and tapped a bit more and yawned a bunch. I was like, wow, cool. I found this old thing that I didn't realize I was holding on to. So that's an example of how you can use tapping, how I have used tapping just this morning. So the key things in there, and I want to pull it out. One, something, you have a behavior that is a drive, a compulsion to do something where you notice somebody else is doing something different. And maybe if you look at it logically or reasonably or rationally, you go, I think they have a point. Like, my behavior is irrational. My behavior doesn't make sense. So that's one thing you can notice. The other thing you can notice is like where you get inconsistent arguments with your partner or somebody you live with. And you notice that there is like, you are very attached to your perspective, your point of view, your reason for doing what you're doing. There's this emotional drive that says, no, but I have to do it this way. Get curious. Why do you have to do it that way? What's driving that behavior? So that's another one, another part of it. The other thing was that I was willing to notice that I had to make a different decision. I had to, in order to find this, I had to make the decision to not get up from my seat and go, oh, okay, I'm going to try it your way. And when I tried it his way, I immediately noticed, because I have enough body wisdom, enough body awareness. So if you have enough body awareness, and you can build that over time, by the way, if you have enough body awareness, then you'll start to notice something bubble up. And then you can start tapping and be with what's bubbling up. And this stuff can shift very, very quickly. If you can, I recommend like combining the tapping with like going for a walk. You know, can you pace around your house or apartment or your room? Can you pace around the backyard? Or can you go for a walk down the street if there's not people who are going to want to have conversations? You can always use the sneaky finger points. I talk about them in one of the videos on YouTube, so on the playlist. So I'll make sure the playlist is below this video. But that's the key thing I wanted to share with you, is this process of how you can use tapping and how you can just seamlessly fit it into your day. And I hope that was helpful.